Hi, I'm Nahani, and I'm going to introduce you to the speakers at Camp Disclosure. Today I'm talking to Steven Cefalo. Steve is a gifted artist whose work spans multiple genres. He's probably best known to our Disclosure community for his work on Above Majestic and Cosmic Secret, and he is currently working with Corey Goode on a series of Sphere Being Alliance graphic novels. What a nice place. Where are you?
It's a green screen, but
it's a green screen. Oh, that's not
I
fair.
wish this was my place.
Hold on a second. There we go.
Oh wow!
Right?
That's even
groovier,
that's even more interesting because it's kind of
space
interdimensional.
It is. How long have you been working with Corey?
It's been 2-ish, 3-ish years now. So I started doing just volunteer stuff for him. I think we both decided that it was a good fit and to work together on a more full-time basis.
And he's doing a graphic novel. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is this a fictionalized sort of story thing, or is it just straight up what happened?
It is what happened. Now there are elements, like as with telling any story, you're telling the hero's journey. So you're not just telling a story, you're telling the reader about themselves too, you know. So or there's an art form where you're following a certain story arc and it all has to fit in there.
Well, I'm seeing some of the artwork clearly on your website and it's incredible. I love it. I mean, it's amazing to have a visual of all of the things he described. I'm sure he helped you flesh those out and tell you exactly like what they look like. And
yeah, I think what I expect is something like I've seen in sci-fi movies, you know? And sometimes I do get that, and then sometimes it's just something you never would have guessed, and that's when it's actually, that is a C.S. Lewis quote. He said, "There's something about truth in which there's always an element. There's always something that you never would have guessed." And that's the thing that I get. One of the things I get from Corey, and one of the reasons why I find him so compelling, is you're always like, "Oh wow, I wouldn't have expected that," you know.
Yeah. About your own work, is that kind of taking over your life at the moment, or are you still working on your own stuff?
In a way, I had a very large following, like social media following, but I was kind of at the end of my rope, like as far as making a living on my art, and I wasn't relating to my old art. I was feeling like the more I sort of woke up and became interested, it's like, why am I doing art about this? You know what I mean?
Like, I know exactly what you mean.
Everything became irrelevant. Part of my journey as an instructor is teaching anatomy. So I've been teaching anatomy, human anatomy, for artists since 2003 or 2004. What you learn is that there are a lot of interesting things about the human anatomy, especially in the proportions, the ratios, the numbers in the human body. And so over the years, I've been thinking about a lot of things and writing them down, and just pondering things. You know, you hear these old stories of like in ancient Greece of like entities embodying, inhabiting statues, right? Or you hear about this with crystal skulls. You know, these entities will come and inhabit these skulls, and so it's such a, I'm going to have a hard time fitting it into the timeline. So they only have 20 minutes on the second one. But my thought process is, are these dimensions that we have in our bodies, in our faces, these ratios, are they exactly what makes us inhabitable by these spirits? And then how much of those ratios are informed before we're born by our DNA in wave form, or carried through our DNA, or maybe past lives, information being carried and shaping who we are. And then are these specific ratios to us, are they ways to access each other's inner? So there's kind of a surprise ending to the whole thing that I won't reveal yet. I guess in a nutshell, what are the spiritual benefits of observing other human beings and pictures of them? I think it's a very powerful thing to carry pictures of your friends, your relatives, and your ancestors. I think it's a very sacred thing to look at other human beings, and that's kind of what it's about.
That's beautiful. I've never heard anyone describe anything like that.
Well, we contemplate, we use mandalas, right? We use all kinds of sacred geometry.
Oh, it makes total sense.
Yeah, and we ponder sacred geometry to restructure our DNA and all kinds of things. But what if, but all of that is in us. We are walking mandalas. Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting thing when you walk into a room, when people are drawing the human body, it is a sacred experience. It doesn't matter what kind of bonehead you are outside of the classroom. When people are sitting in a room and observing a person sitting there, there's something that comes over everybody, and it's like a sacred religious experience. And so, I start wondering why. And as I teach, a lot of these things come out. I become, maybe that's part of my awakening process, is teaching the figure and the portrait. Just you start rattling off these thoughts, and you start becoming like a philosopher and a spiritual teacher. When you just started talking about how to draw a face or a body.
Wow, that is, I'm like almost crying right now because, oh my God, I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she's an art student, and she's going to be editing this and seeing me cry. There you go.
It's great. It should be in there.
She does this, and it's not something we share. I don't draw. I used to when I was a child, and then something happened to me and I stopped. Mm-hmm. But she is deeply interested in this, and she loves to do that. She loves to draw figures, and it's something I didn't really understand until now. Yeah,
it's a very spiritual.
And sometimes I feel like we're not on the same wavelength with spiritual things, and she thinks I'm a little wacky, but she's got her own way, and that's, so you just explained that to me, so thank you.